quite a dramatic, controversial move. The Lok Sabha has passed the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Amendment Bill 2026, and this bill changes one of the most fundamental principles of identity in modern India. Now, earlier the law recognized the idea that a person has the right to define their own gender, but now that recognition may depend on medical examination and a certificate to prove it, and also a state approval that should be attached to it. Well, let's tell you exactly why this has exploded into a national controversy. The Transgender Bill was passed in the Lok Sabha amid an opposition walkout. Several parties, including the Congress, Samajwadi Party, Trinamool Congress, DMK, Shiv Sena, UBT, NCP and CPIM all walked out, saying they were not satisfied with the government's response. So to simplify this, so far, the larger legal principle in India, especially after the landmark NALSA judgment of 2014, was this, that a person has the right to self-identify their gender. That was the spirit of the law. But now the new amendment shifts that principle entirely, and that is where the political and legal storm begins. No longer only asks who you are, but also questions, can you prove it? If you are transgender, prove that you are transgender. That's what the bill asks for, proof. The government says it wants a precise definition of who qualifies as transgender person under the law. Its argument is that welfare benefits and legal protection should go to those facing real and severe social exclusion, especially those with specific biological, intersex or socio-cultural identities. So the law now focuses more tightly on categories such as Hijra, Kinnar, Aravani, Jokta and those with certain biological variations. What gets squeezed out of this definition are self-perceived gender identities that may not fit neatly into these categories. And that's why activists are now furious, because the law, they argue, is moving away from I know who I am to the state will decide if I qualify or not. The most controversial part, the biggest change and the one that has triggered the sharpest backlash is the right to self-identification is effectively being removed now. Earlier, the legal direction was if your gender identity does not match the one assigned at birth, your self-perception matters. Now, the new bill, that's no longer enough, because if you want legal recognition as a transgender person, you will now need certificate of identity. You need to prove it. And who gives that certificate? The District Magistrate, the state. That certificate will only be issued after examination by a designated medical board. And a person applying for recognition must be examined by a medical board headed by a chief medical officer or a deputy chief medical officer. The bill allows a transgender person who gets this certificate to change their first name in official records, including birth certificates and other government documents. Then there is another important change. Under the earlier law, if a transgender person underwent gender-affirming surgery, they could apply for a revised certificate. Now the amendment reportedly makes that process more formal and mandatory. The medical institution or the institute where the surgery happens must also inform the district magistrate that it's happening. Now, supporters of the bill say that this just is a verification process. They say that the state needs clear system, benefits must go to the intended community, and legal recognition cannot be left entirely open-ended. But on the other side, people say that identity is not a medical test. What is the value of smoother paperwork if the right of recognition itself becomes much harder? And the surgery procedure, the activists say, it is surveillance of identity. And that difference in interpretation is what this battle is really all about. To be fair here, that is important as well. The government is not presenting this bill as anti-trans. The government says the bill is about protecting the genuinely vulnerable group. This bill is about stopping misuse. This bill is about ensuring benefits reach the intended community. Rights need structure, welfare needs verification. But then there is the counter argument there. Activists, legal experts, opposition parties there saying that that you cannot protect a community by first taking away its right to define itself. That is the core of this resistance here.